Dr. Nintendo here. 2013 was a great year for the 3DS. I feel like it finally got some games, has some really good titles that came out this year, and I got my hands on a lot of them. Here's my list of the top 25 games that came out in 2013. Let's go take a look.
Number 25.
Batman Origin Blackgate.
The game begins slightly after Arkham Origins. Blackgate is a platformer that feels similar to that of Castlevania and Metroid. There's a lot of backtracking and areas to explore that you couldn't reach before. Normally, I really like this sense of exploration, but here, it just kind of felt slow and unnecessary. I love the visual of the comic book style cutscenes. I think it gave it a really unique look. And I really wish they just made the whole game look like this. I truly believe it would have made the game more memorable and stand out in a world of popular franchises that are just being ported over to handhelds. Now don't get me wrong, I love me some Batman games. And I really enjoyed the gadgets in the game, and it almost had like a Final Fight feeling with the side-scrolling beat-em-up brawler aspects, but I just wish they built Blackgate from the ground up versus trying to do a watered-down console game for handhelds. This is why Blackgate is number 25 on my list. Number 24.
Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures.
Released for the 3DS, this is a 2D action platformer. Now I love me some platformers, and that's how Pac-Man, Ghostly Adventures managed to climb its way onto the list. Many people didn't like this game when it first came out. To me, it felt that a higher standard was put in place. When you use such a classic franchise like that of Pac-Man, people just expect certain things. I bet if they used a new character set, they might have gotten slightly better reviews. One big element that separates this from other games in the past is, as you progress through the levels, you pick up new power-ups that you could switch back and forth to on the fly. One of the first power-ups you get is Fire Pack. This lets you throw fireballs at enemies, and starting out, some of these enemies have to be melted before you can take out the ghost. Next, you get Ice Pack. This lets you freeze parts of your environment or other ghosts. Later on, you get one of my favorite power-ups. You get Granite Ball Pack, and you can quickly move through the levels. You can smush enemies that are in your path. Pac-Man tries to keep it fresh and change with the times. This is a fresh take for the handheld as a platformer. But in my book, nothing will beat the classic. Number 23.
Adventure Time, Explore the Dungeon, because I don't know.
The second release in Adventure Time games, a throwback to retro dungeon crawlers like Gauntlet. Baddies are escaping Princess Bubblegum's dungeon, and no one knows why. You gotta get down there and figure out how. I love me some Adventure Time and its fun take on the genre. But for me, it seems a little rushed, almost like the developers ran out of time. I feel like they could have added a lot more. The biggest complaint is its dungeons. You know, where you're gonna spend like all of your time in the game. It's just really repetitive. You battle and level your way through 100 dungeons, but they all feel the same. Adventure Time is a great game overall, but you can't play it for more than a couple hours at a time before it's just mind-numbingly boring. It's a good pickup to play here and there, and I can really appreciate grinding for what it is, and I enjoy the RPG elements, but I really want to see new, different dungeons. The controls are tight, and the upgraded items are fun. In the next game, I want to see BMO as a Godzilla game, or BMO Splinter Cell. You know, he's my favorite. Number 22.
Mario Party Island Tour.
I love me some Mario Party. I have from the very start. I was really scared and kind of excited at the same time for this release. Having fond memories of all-nighters, playing Mario Party with friends, but with 2 handheld releases before Island Tour, it just felt lacking. Take away the feeling you get from hanging out with a group of buds, playing some Mario Party, just felt a little lacking. You can set up multiplayer with multi-systems, but it's not the same as just plugging in an N64 and a couple controllers and you're good to go. Handheld Mario Party just seems more like a party of one. It's kind of lonely. That being said, it's still a fun single player game. Lots of new minigames, more streamlined approach, a race to the end of the board, unlike other Mario parties of the past, trying to collect, steal, and win stars. It's really nice to have a change of pace to Mario Party's formula. The minigames make or break a title, and here we have a strong lineup. Now what really stands out are the games that maximize the feature of the 3DS. The touchscreen, the gyroscope, and the 3D effect. In the end, the minigames are fun, but without the name attached to it, would Island Tour still be as much fun? That's really for you to decide. Number 21.
Super Little Acorn 3D Turbo.
Started out on iOS, Super Little Acorn is an old school platformer with a new twist. Here you play as a squirrel dad in fact, whose mission is to collect all the nuts, make it through all the levels, all before time is up. Sounds simple enough. Levels will keep you on your toes. There are different objectives for you to try in each level. The design's clever and has a definite feel of a flow to it. With tons of different costumes you can collect, this might remind you a little bit of another game. My one wish is the controls are just a little tighter. It's a platformer after all, and that's a real must. It's just a little hard when you run around and everything feels just to be a little floaty, almost like another famous Nintendo character we all know. The game has a lot of replayability. Go back through levels, different objectives, collect all the fruits, take out all the bad guys, race against the clock. Super Little Acorn is an upgrade from its mobile brother, and it's definitely a fun pickup. Number 20.
Sen Ron Burst.
Sen Ron finally made it stateside. Right now, it's only digital download. All jokes aside, I really want a physical copy. It's a really fun, over-the-top, side-scroller, beat-em-up with a unique gameplay aspect. But like Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, when you take damage, you're gonna lose some clothing. And that's where a little bit of the controversy for this game first came out. This might simply be viewed as a way of selling the game. Sen Ron Karuga is much more than that. With an emphasis on speed, aerial attacks, and massive combos, it gives you a feeling of its own. By chaining together weaker than heavier attacks, you can launch enemies into the air, perform super moves, and do 100-hit combos. With such quickness and timing, that will remind you of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I was trying to put my finger on it for the longest time. Why it felt so familiar. Sen Ron, similar to one of my favorite animes, Freezing. If you can, definitely try to find a copy of this Japanese TV show. It's also a little jiggly by nature, but it has a great story. In both, you can transform into a final form. Sen Ron Kara is definitely a must pick up. Number 19.
Mario and Donkey Kong Minis on the Move.
Minis on the Move is a fun eShop title. This time around, you grab tiles from the pipe and place them on the board. Doing so creates a path for the plastic mini toys to make it to the goal. At first, it looks simple, but there are several elements to keep track of all at once. You need to avoid enemies, pick up power-ups, go for the 3 Mario medals, and use warp pipes. Blow up your own tiles to make a new path. I really like how Mario Minis breaks up its gameplay into 4 core gameplay categories. Each one plays a little different than each other. This is a small breath of fresh air from the typical, very easy to hard, linear path that many puzzle games take. basic gameplay where you place tiles as they come out. In Puzzle Place, you have a predetermined set of tiles you have access to all at once. You have to navigate and make the best route out of what you have. This mode is more about planning and making the right decision. Mini Mayhem has a focus on spinning tiles around that are already on the board. There's a lot to keep track of, and you could have 2 of the mini toy characters running around on the board at once. I really like this game mode. Last, Giant Jungle. Like the name would leave you to believe, it's a huge map, and it takes place in a jungle. There are 10 Mario coins. Getting it perfect and picking up all 10 coins is a real feat. The bright colors, the art style definitely makes it feel like a Mario game. With the 3D turned on, you could really see that the minis look like they're made out of plastic. I just adore how they move around and they look all cute on the board. I wish there was a little plastic or PVC figures that we could get of them. They would love to live on my game shelf. Minis on the Move has a lot more content than when I first thought, but really makes it stand out is a level creator. You can share and download boards, gives you almost endless possibilities. And when I picked up Minis on the Move, I was sitting in the airport in Portland, waiting for my plane to arrive so I could go to Hawaii. I spent hours playing this game straight. It's so addicting. But being on a plane was probably the best way I could have played this. You see, once in a while you might get stuck for a second on a board, but flying at 30,000 feet, no internet connection, it really keeps you honest. No YouTube, no walkthroughs, no help, no way for you to cheat. I put down the game just for a few minutes, and then I'd come right back and it'd be pretty obvious what I needed to do to solve it. I really hope this coming year, Club Nintendo releases the little plastic figures as rewards. Definitely pick up a copy of Minis on the Move. You won't regret it.
Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next part. I want to hear from you. What are some of your favorite games that came out this year? As always, I'm Dr. Nintendo. Thanks for watching.